I am nervous. We're upstairs, so this is all upstairs, isn't it?
Yeah.
What if this turns out to be the ending?
I'm David McGarity, and I'm also known as Tyrone.
Samuel Vincent, also known as Lesley.
What if this turns out to be the ending?
Tyrone is sort of a ukulele playing whiteface troubadour, I suppose. Something like that, with a sort of neo-vaudeville vibe. He seems like he comes from another era.
Lesley is a double bass player, just pushing through. Didn't we meet at a recording for something that you were doing?
Yeah, we did. There was a band I had called The Goodbye Notes, and there was a song that needed a double bass part in it. And the lead singer of the band, Barbara Fordham, suggested Sam. And I was lucky enough to be present at the recording session, and he seemed like a lovely bloke and great musician. It was really beautiful watching him play on this piece. And then after that, I had a theatre production in mind with a ukulele and a double bass and a gorilla in it, and I asked Sam if he would be the bass player in that scenario, and he said yes, as long as you don't make me act. And so we did a prototype of that show, which was called Ukulele Meekulele, in around about 2000, and that's where we first worked together on stage.
22 years. Pretty good.
Not a bad run.
Yeah.
I think we like each other, and I think we like what we make, and I think we're always, for me, I think I'm always chasing a new song, and one of my favourite things to do in the world is write songs, and even more favourite than that is to write songs with Sam.
Yeah, it's a good place to write songs because almost anything's on the table. Any style you can think of, any direction you want to go, some idea that you've had, can have a safe harbour in Tyrone and Lesley. Be a much more fractious relationship, more antagonists than friends. I think it's mellowed a lot in the years since.
So when we started out, that we were kind of closer to characters, I suppose, within sort of a theatrical narrative who had something to achieve, and in that situation I was a bit of a misanthrope, and he experienced a fair bit of being put down, and there was quite a lot of forbearance there. But gradually we've sort of let that go, and they've become more like performance personae, like masks or something that we wear, that's allowed us a lot of freedom both in the performing and in the writing.
Well, it's funny actually, because in the show Ukulele Meekulele, there's a point where the bass player's had enough and he says, I just want to play the music. Well, at least before that line was cut, my one line. I think I cut it. And that's mostly what it's become, more and more about playing the music, less about any story or anything like that.
We actually discovered that we can write songs together quite well, and since then we've kind of escaped the sort of theatrical side of things and have become much more of a musical duo, and that's really freed us up, and I think it's allowed a certain sort of trust and kindness to sort of emanate from the performance through the music.
Focus will be out of focus, much like yourselves.
Yeah.
Until
And then, so you have 9 seconds. You've got to time your focus to it.
I'm watching the stuff at the moment.
Yeah.
Right stuff.
Yeah.
When he's acting, I'll raise my hand.
Just got to remember the words.
This could turn out to be the middle, the bit where things get broken when they're brittle. This could turn out.
At the moment we're just finishing up our 7th album, which is called String, and we're making a sort of cabaret presentation of some of those songs called String, An Odd Evening with Tyrone and Lesley, which is sort of a theatrical framing for this new musical material we've come up with, which is based in a box of slides from 1956 that we found, and those are going to be the visuals for our show. Well, I found this bunch of slides, a box of about 150 slides at a flea market kind of thing for $5, and when I opened it up, every single one had been annotated, both on the actual slide and in this sort of table of contents as well too. And to me it looks like the work of an unknown artist. It's taken photos of Brisbane in May 1956. And what's beautiful about the images is there's hardly anything interesting about them at all.
There's very few people. Are there any photos with people?
There's one photo of this unknown artist standing, which I think he's used a self-timer on. So I think that could be the artist.
Right.
So I don't know. So there's an air of mystery about them too, but sort of a beauty and a mundanity as well too, which I think sort of would be a beautiful frame for what we do musically. The visuals serve as this sort of beautiful cushion, a velvet cushion that we're presenting our music to you on. So it'll be like us, very sort of distinctive and quirky and inimitable sort of night of musical performance. Got all the excitement of a slide night, which is a very sort of vintage thing to do, to show slides. Tyrone and Lesley are going to stay together. I mean, there's lots of songs on this record about endings and goodbyes and finishing up, but I don't think we're going to finish, are we?
Not on this album.
No, not on this album. So we're going to keep on searching for the next song, I suppose, is what we're going to do.
This turns out to be the start. What if this turns out to be the start?